I used to stop painting the moment it got hard. So this week I'm painting over a canvas that I left untouched for almost 6, maybe 7 years. And that's exactly what I want to talk about today because I know I'm not the only one who has piles of unfinished paintings laying around. A few years ago, I decided that I wanted to move my studio back home. And my better half helped me turn our basement into my new studio space. He also created storage for my paintings just below our garage, and that's where I keep a pile of old unfinished canvases. But they were left unfinished not because I didn't care, but because I cared too much at the time. So they've been in storage for years. Many of them I started when I was still learning to paint and really struggling with perfectionism, and that is what kept me from finishing them. So the canvas you see me painting on here is from when I was learning how to speak through color, shape, and composition. So when I pulled it out from storage the other day, I could actually remember how it felt to have my paintings come to a stop and just be unable to finish them. It was like I just froze. And looking at this painting now, I can clearly see that it was only because I didn't have the mindset that I have today. So I actually love that I started with these bold marks on this painting because that is totally something I would never do back then. Now, instead, I would kind of let that fear of ruining something that had potential just stop me from moving forward. At the time, I actually enjoyed telling myself that I would come back to the painting. But the truth is, I didn't trust myself to finish it back then. So the kind of perfectionism I'm talking about isn't the kind where, you like everything to just look tidy and beautiful. No, it's the kind of fear that makes you hold back even when you feel the urge to be bold. Or you choose not to finish a painting because it doesn't feel good enough. Or it might even be the fear of getting stuck in the middle and constantly adjusting your painting and never feeling satisfied with it. Or even avoiding a painting because you're scared you'll ruin the whole darn thing. But the thing is, perfectionism doesn't just disappear on its own. You slowly find your way through it, one painting at a time. So this canvas is also a lower quality one, and that's part of why I never moved forward with it. So these days I use a better quality canvas because now I sell more of my work through exhibitions and galleries. So back then I was still selling my paintings privately and at art fairs and things like that. And my prices weren't that high either. So I didn't really see the need to buy really expensive canvases either. But I have a good reason for holding on to these paintings for so long because, I was never really ready to let them go. So they just sat there unfinished. And I think part of the reason is that they were kind of special to me because they are part of my journey, a time when I was still trying to prove something to myself. And if I'm honest, I was probably trying to prove something to others too. I guess I just felt it was time to start using them. So I found the courage and I just started layering over what was already there. Not trying to erase the past or anything, just trying to build on it. And this is the one thing that I want you to take away from what I've been talking about today. If you have a pile of unfinished work, that does not mean that you're not talented enough. And it certainly doesn't mean that you've failed. It just means that there's something you're still afraid of. There's something that you're still working on. And let me tell you, that is completely normal. I know this not only because I've lived it myself, but I've also worked with hundreds of students who've had this exact experience. And I want you to know that that fear doesn't have to control you as an artist. And the reason for this is because you don't have to wait for your courage to arrive before you make a move on these paintings. Sometimes your courage comes because you made a move on your paintings. You see? So you just have to start and just go for it. And when you do, that fear will take the back seat. All right, I'm going to put on some music and then I'll be back just to talk a bit about what's going on with my painting situation. So I had no clear plan when I started, and that is another part of being able to let go of perfectionism. I try to stay in the moment and not think about anything else. And sometimes I'm lucky enough to slip into the flow, and that will often get me through the session without even entering my head once, while other paintings give me more of a challenge. So at this point in the painting, I'm not in love with it, but I do have the confidence inside of me telling me that I will be able to get it to a place that I love. So when that perfectionism comes creeping in, I hope that you can stop and remind yourself that you actually deserve to paint with freedom and trust. This is one of the many mindset issues that I help artists work through in my course, Intuitive and Spontaneous Abstracts, building a process that's rooted in trust and not perfectionism. I'll leave the link below if you want to learn more, but if that's not something you're ready for, you can also find the clarity checklist in the description below if you want to start there. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me this week, and if you made it to the end, let me know by commenting "my pile has potential." I'm really looking forward to seeing you again next week. Until then, bye.